A to the K.
To the K.
To the K. Hello, welcome to another episode of the A2theK Wrestling Show. We are Carl and Anthony, and this guy right here is Road Dogg, and we're about to go through A2theK's little known fact of the week. Take it away, Road Dogg.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh yeah. Anthony, we are mere days away from Christmas, and as we know, over the years, WWE tends to get into the festive spirit, if you will. But did you know? WWE has had some very interesting festive action. In 2001, we got to see Santa Claus take on Santa Claus. When Tajiri and Bubba Ray both donned the big red suit in a Santa square-off, which was repeated in 2013 when Mark Henry and Damien Sandow had their little Santa match of their own as well. When it comes to the women wrestlers, typical of WWE, they had some, again, very interesting choices in what they did on, around Christmas time with a mistletoe on a pole match, where I believe the winner got the opportunity to kiss a wrestler of their choice. We had a Jingle Bells match, see what they did there?
Clever stuff.
Oh yeah, and they also had an eggnog match, which was a kind of play on the, throw them into the mud or throw them into the water kind of match.
I don't know what you're talking about, Carl. I know what you're hinting at here, but it's just people getting into the festive spirit. There's nothing inherently sexy about it.
No, 100% not. No.
Who's being objectified? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, definitely. But lastly, somewhat of a festive tradition for WWE, they also like to put on their fair share of Miracle on 34th Street street fights. So yeah, see what they did there? And again, another. They love a pun. They love a pun, if you will.
They do.
So yeah, WWE big fans of the festive season, and
obviously the Godfather, infamously part of WWE, very festive most of the time. Ho ho ho,
ho 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 everywhere. But yeah, WWE very very festive if you exclude them, laying everyone off just before Christmas. But still, that was. That was A2theK's little known fact of the week. Definitely. And this is Road Dogg once again to sing us out for this segment.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh yeah. Beautiful. So Anthony, we're going to kick off with This Week in Wrestling. I'm going to kick off with WWE. I'm going to kick off with the single highlight for WWE Raw this week. Which basically, so the whole theme around Raw this week was Bobby Lashley wants to be in the title match. So the only way to do that is to beat all three others in the same night, to make it a fatal four-way.
So you can't just turn up and say, I'm next. No. Can't.
Well, I mean, consistency is key in WWE. So apparently not. Considering everyone else does that.
Sure.
But
guess you got it.
Lashley, he can't do it. But the one and only thing which made me piss me pants out of hilarity. So it actually made sense. So obviously the plan was Lashley had to face Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and then Big E. He fought Kevin Owens, beat him. Fought Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens comes down and beats the shit out of Seth Rollins, thus getting Bobby Lashley disqualified. Therefore, that's it. He's not even in the match anymore. And the sudden realization of Seth Rollins going, "You fucking genius, Kevin Owens." It was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. And probably the only good thing about the entire show. Now, of course, that was overturned because we'll come on to that. But the Authority,
why the fuck not?
But that aside, genius. I think Kevin Owens is absolutely killing it. Obviously signed a new deal, so hopefully they use him right, and hopefully he continues to be, a really bright part of the show. Seth Rollins killing it as well. So the pair of them were great, and I think. Yeah, unfortunately, the only thing, though, that was good about the entirety of Raw, Anthony.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. Speaking about the only thing that was good in the entirety of the show, I'll move over to NXT if I could.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about Haaland. Now, obviously, Haaland had his debut, and in all fairness, considering the short amount of time he's been signed with, been in the developmental and so on, basically short amount of time training, I'd say he looked pretty good. I think you called this anyway, that he's got bags of potential, and he's definitely pushing away from the Brock Lesnar connection. But I don't know, it looks very promising. The only thing we need to do is to get him away from Joe Gacy.
Yes, very
Not a
much
fan
so.
of that storyline, and I think when we can pull away from that, he could move on to some bigger and better things.
Yeah, I feel like, typically with these kind of things, the writing's on the wall. You can see Haaland eventually turning on Gacy, having something there, beating the shit out of him, and we'll all rejoice and be super happy.
Honestly, stuff like this doesn't worry me. That when he's really new, they want to get him some time served or some experience, but he's not ready to be in like the leagues with the likes of Bron Breakker and stuff like that. But that's where he should be. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, that makes a lot of sense to me. So, as much as I'm not a fan of the storyline, I don't mind where they're putting Haaland at the moment, because it is just a case of getting him some familiarity with the in-ring work and so on. And yeah, I was going to say promo work, but let's be honest, I don't think that's going to be his forte, given his silent, stoic character at the moment.
Yeah, but no, I think great to see him. Great for him to have his first match, and as you said, I think he's got a big future potentially. I mean, I said the same thing about Dexter Loomis. Kind of fall off the face of the earth at the minute.
Where is Dexter Loomis?
Who knows? So
Painting away.
Painting away. But yeah, so fingers crossed for Haaland. I think he could be something really good for WWE. The next one to talk about, heading over to SmackDown. I want to highlight the women's tag match. I think they were given a really good amount of time for this one. And I think more importantly, the spotlight was actually on the people who deserved it and needed it the most. So the up-and-coming stars, your Shotzi and your Tony Storm.
I know.
think,
It's all like, it was surprisingly well booked. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So I think for me, it was a bit of a refreshing kind of change of pace for the women's division. I think it was, they've kind of fell back into the let's just go after the 4 horsewomen and them alone, and we won't do anything else with anyone else. And I think, say what you like about Shotzi or say what you like about Tony Storm, but I think the pair of them are really, really good, and it's a much needed attempt at building some new stars, bringing them up into the, I hate saying that, the term elevating them, because they don't feel like they need to be elevated. They're on that level, but
No, I agree.
In the fans' eyes, it's like, well, if they're getting matches with the likes of Charlotte and Sasha and stuff, then they're seen in the same light almost.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think Shotzi is a really good example. Like you say, that she doesn't particularly need elevating. I've been critical of some elements of her character in the past. That's mostly the screamy thing, but
The tank.
she the tiny tank does kind of still bug me. But overall, she's really good in the ring, and she's quite a unique character, isn't she? So like, that's exactly what they need, really. Like, people are gonna either love her or hate her. But like you say, she's sort of fully fleshed out, as it were. So it's good to see. I couldn't put it any better, Carl. It's good to see that they're getting that sort of attention and that sort of spotlight on the main roster, because you forget not so much Tony, but you forget how long Shotzi's actually been on the main roster, because we just haven't really seen a lot of her.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
True that. And then one more, Anthony. A final highlight for WWE this week.
Sipping this delicious lager. So the last one, Carl, and I think it's no surprise, and one that I'm sure you agree with. It's the Roman, Heyman, Brock situation. So we're kind of seeing, I dare say, the sort of culmination of the story now. So we've got Roman sort of. I do have one complaint about this, and it doesn't stop it from being a highlight. And I mentioned this to you the minute I saw it happen. Was Roman's Superman punch is just weak as piss. It's just fucking horrible, right? Such a badass moment, such a betrayal, and then it's just Roman running up and going after jumping in the air, and it's like just we need a proper move. It's just so limp and stupid.
It's very, very tame, and it's also so easy to telegraph. Even Paul Heyman could have just gone, oh, because he has about a fucking 10-step run up and a big linger in the air. Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, don't hit me then.
Yeah, but you know what? Like that is only a minor thing, and some people probably love his Superman punch. So I'll chalk that up to a personal sort of taste thing. I much prefer like a proper out of nowhere kind of stunner or RKO or something like that. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, the segment was really good. I think I was always expecting, and I think a lot of people were always expecting it to be signposted that like Heyman's going to be the one who turns on someone, and it seems to not be the case now. And I like where they're going with it. I'm intrigued to see where they go with it, because they might even be playing a double bluff here, where Roman's done that to Heyman. So then you go, well, Heyman's aligned with Brock, but then Heyman and Roman maybe plan that so that they could then betray Brock down the line. You just don't know. But still really engaging stuff. Still the best thing in WWE at the moment, storyline wise. So it's got to be a highlight.
Agreed. And I think it's a really interesting point. The whole double bluff aspect of it. Double bruff, Lesnar. It's a very interesting thing because a lot of people are thinking, okay, this has laid the landscape now, and it's going to be very clear that Heyman goes with Brock. But if they do pull this off as almost a double bluff, I think is what's that going to mean for Heyman and Brock going forward? So
this is why I think it's a double bluff though, because it's so clear that it's like it's almost a little too clear. So that's where I think I wouldn't put it past. Or if you look at the character of Heyman, you wouldn't put it past him sort of orchestrating this plan where he'll get on Brock's side. They have to make it obvious that he's not affiliated with Roman, or Roman sort of sacked him, so that they can. I don't know what the betrayal would be, because the reality is, no offense to him, but what use is Heyman in the actual match? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how they pay that off, if I'm correct in what I'm thinking. But yeah, it's still super intriguing. We're thinking about it. We're asking questions about it. That's what a good storyline should do.
That's what you want. That's how you sell day one.
Damn right.
So on to the Oh Shites then for this week for WWE. So kicking things off with the Authority themselves, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. Basically, in a nutshell, I hate them. I hate them so much. I just don't see what the point of them is. Why are they so inconsistent with what they do? They made Bobby defeat all three in one night, to get entry into the main event. They're so redundant. We spent 15 minutes to ultimately get to where we knew it was going to go. I don't understand it. I don't get the need for them on TV. I think
all they actually are, right, is it's like when the teacher has to go out of the classroom for a minute and they leave one of the kids in charge. That's kind of what's happened here. They're the McMahons have been right, we'll be back, Adam, while we're gone, you keep an eye on the class. And he's just let the power go to his head. You know what I mean?
I keep seeing these little memes and stuff of being is it 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, since they all came out, the whole McMahon family, and we're we're gonna listen to you, we're gonna give you what you want, and it's no, you're still doing the same Authority angle, but with not even with the McMahons, and no offense because I love Sonya Deville, but with Sonya fucking Deville and with Adam Pearce, really?
Thing is, I like Sonya Deville, not in the position she's in now. I've not enjoyed any part of her being a managerial figure, and it's not even a Sonya thing. It's the fact that they don't even seem to be going does she get along with Adam or not? Are they still undermining each other? What did that storyline just go away? Because nothing's really happened with it. You expect something, don't you? Expect maybe some sort of storytelling where she takes over and betrays him in some way, but we get nothing. They just still kind of, confuse each other, I guess.
It's mad, and I don't want to make this an AEW versus WWE thing, but it's mad that the most produced and written, wrestling show in the world today doesn't actually have storylines that make fucking sense or characters that play into things correctly.
They deliberately write their storytelling. How often do they go, right, so what we're going to have is the suggestion that there's absolutely no match card and you're going to make up shit on the fly. And that's a deliberate storytelling device where they go, someone's going to come up to you backstage and demand a match, and you're going to have all the free space in the world to put that match on the card because you don't have a card because you're you're useless at what you're doing. And they do it so much, and it's I'm willing to suspend disbelief, but it is I don't know, like you say, it's bad enough when the actual authority figures are the authority figures on TV. When it's what's Scrap Daddy and Sonya? It's what's why?
Scrap Daddy and Sonya. Now that's a segment I want to see.
That's a podcast waiting to happen right there.
It is. So definitely an O'Shite for me. I can't stand these two. They need to just bin it off ASAP.
They don't know how to write a show without an authority figure. That's the problem.
Yeah, true.
And don't be wrong, sometimes you need one. We've often expressed that. All Adam Pearce needed to be, and I'm excluding Sonya because Adam was there sort of originally. All Adam Pearce ever needed to be was just there for when they needed someone to book a match or someone to sort of publicly say, yeah, this is what's happening. Mm-hmm. And I say this so much, so apologies to everyone because I'm a broken record. he needed to be what Regal is to NXT or was to NXT. I haven't seen Regal
Yeah.
in a while, so that worries
No,
me.
there's so many examples of it being done correctly. You know, Regal, even way back when, like Jack Tunney and stuff like that, they get involved when they need to. Tony Khan now, like, you know he's booking the show. You don't see him because you don't need to see him.
I mean, all right, it got a little bit cringe when he was coming out and having rap battles and stuff, but at least they were experimenting on Dark with that shit.
Well, exactly. So yeah, it's a washed up formula now, which was white hot when it was Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. When it ain't them two, it ain't a thing. So
it just doesn't work.
Be done with it.
No, totally agree. So moving on, Carl, to one I've got. And it's another thing that is probably a bit of an overdone trope, especially with WWE, and it's members of tag teams having one-on-one against each other. So my main sort of bugbear, I suppose, was Riddle and Otis, but we also saw that with Selena and Rhea. Rhea? Yeah, I'm saying that right. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just one. It's like, okay, cool, and it's because they don't really know. Again, it just falls into that whole thing of not really knowing what to do with a tag team. Yeah. So it's like, well, let's do this.
This is on par with like the whole "can they coexist" thing. Like, it's literally it's their go-to. It's like, well, we've got a tag team, but we don't want to book the tag team match because we need to save that for a pay-per-view or something. So what do we do? Well, I know, let's just book them individually against each other, but then we'll have some shenanigans for weeks until we get to the actual tag team match.
You know what? I actually wouldn't mind so much if you, like, how often do you get these matches and you know there's going to be shenanigans? Yeah. So it's like, I'm not even going to get a clean match between these two. Shit's going to happen.
That's it. And it's like, tag teams. It's like this week it'll be, you know, partner 1 versus partner 2. Then next week it'll be partner 2 versus partner 1 of the other team. And it's like, really? Like, it's so formulaic. And then like, eventually...
If we put them on in singles matches, that's like 4 matches there. That's awesome.
And then it's like, well, actually, that means that we can then reverse that and we can have them against the opposites. Oh, genius. Yeah, it's... yeah.
And then we'll do one non-title tag match and one title tag match.
Oh,
yeah. That's it, fully booked.
We'll get the actual team who aren't the champs to win the non-title one, but then we'll just screw them over for the belts, which makes it all worthwhile. So yeah, completely feel you on that.
WWE writer somewhere that's just going, slow down.
Say that again. What? I got lost in the math. Usually, other ones. What?
Some standard math right there. So it doesn't need to be. I don't think I need to harp on too much, mate. But for me, yeah, the whole, well, tags in general, but this sort of little trope that we get quite commonly now.
Yeah, no, I completely feel you. The next Oh Shite was an Oh Shite for many reasons. One, it wasn't believable, right? So you've got The Miz and Maurice ultimately having a falling out because The Miz used Maurice as a human shield. You know, when Edge was coming after The Miz. And so she's like, I can't believe you've done that to me. You know, I'm the mother of your kids, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe you've done this. You know, I'm the mother of your children, whatever, you put me in that position. Slaps him, walks off in a big huff. And like, you know, oh, we're meant to believe that. When it's so fucking obvious that what they're going to do is they're going to go, well, this is all done because then next week, you know, they're going to come out and do this and they're going to lure Edge into a fucking thing. I guarantee that's what's going to happen. 100% that's what's going to happen.
Like,
so it's pointless.
Let's face it, we're all looking at it like, you're married to The Miz.
Exactly.
You know what he is.
You know who this guy
like
is.
You don't.
But we also know who Maurice is. Like, this is not the kind of thing Maurice would get annoyed over. Like, you know, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
and I hope they're writing it that way because it's so obvious that, like, this doesn't work. Like, this, why would she fall out with him over that? And if it's genuine, then they fucked that up.
Right. If they haven't written it this way, I will eat my fucking hat. Right. And I know people may be watching this going, well, it's Wednesday, so you must know what happened on Monday. I don't know. I purposely try and avoid these things. But I guarantee you now that's what happens. You know, they're either going to carry it on for another week and then we'll get the swerve. Well, they swerved it this week. Depends on how they're feeling. But ultimately, Maurice isn't going to be mad at The Miz. It's all going to be a ploy and they're going to go after Edge. Someone, I don't even know who it was, someone made the fantastic point of, well, do you think we'll see Beth Phoenix team up with Edge and have, you know, Miz versus Maurice at some point? And I was like, I hadn't really thought about that, to be fair, but it makes sense.
Maurice?
What
the fuck? We've seen Maurice in... I don't even know how that happened. We've seen Maurice in ring gear, haven't we, on social media? So the fact that they're pushing towards being in a match, and like I've been wanting her to come back for a while, but I don't think she's coming back to have like her own sort of solo run in the women's division. So I'm thinking that theory more and more is true, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. Which, to be fair, I would love to see it. Two real life couples, two women who. Yeah. Let me watch that.
Fight one another.
But no, I think that'd be great. I would enjoy that a lot.
Agreed. So this was an Oh Shite, yes?
It was, yes. Sorry. So what I was saying was too obvious. Telegraphed it. Stop being silly. She would never do that. Stupid.
Indeed. So my next one, Carl, and again, it doesn't need a lot of talking about. It's just so obvious why it's shit, and that is the 24/7 title, and all the just ridiculousness of the titles in general, but with the whole Dana Reginald stuff. Let's just get rid of this now. And by this, I mean the 24/7 title, and by get rid, I mean Reginald.
Yep. Can't agree more. It's so fucking pathetic. It is like. It's dead. It is 100% dead. Like, I'm not being funny. No disrespect to Dana as well. I'm sure she's lovely. Whatever. You give the title to Dana. Just right. That's it. That is it. Dead.
The trouble is, I respect what they're trying to do. They try to give the title to Dana to do something with the title that like isn't just rinse and repeat. Someone wins it, someone loses it within 40 odd seconds. R-Truth wins it again because why not? It's just literally just a repetitive cycle with the 24/7 title. They just don't know how to make it fun anymore. And I respect the fact they tried with Dana, and that was unexpected. But the construct of the 24/7 title, and I moaned about it at the time that like realistically, why didn't anyone go for Dana?
Yeah,
like it's always on the line, and you just let her leave. Like you all rush the ring to get the title, and then she won it, and you're like, well, that's that. We're fucked. Nothing we can do now.
Well,
Why?
exactly.
Why?
Like for me,
just that inconsistent ruling just pisses
for
me
me, like the whole thing with this, where it was like in the fucking snow, and then she's there doing Reginald flippy shit to get at, like to evade the people who are coming for her and stuff like that. I was just like, it's awful. It's so bad.
Flippy shit.
So bad. So the next one I want to talk about, Anthony. Duke Hudson lost his hair versus hair match with Cameron Grimes. You know that guy from NXT. Had a hair versus hair match, lost it. And so what did they do? They steal Kurt Angle's gimmick after he had his. It's funny because we brought this up last week or the week before. You saying the only good hair versus hair match, right? And we were like, yeah, it's a really good point that. We really loved the stuff they did after it with Kurt Angle and the wig and all that kind of stuff. So what did they do? Exactly the same fucking thing. Bright blonde wig this time, though. Not brown. Bright blonde with the little wrestling thing to keep it on.
Kurt Angle was lovable. That's the difference.
Whereas Duke Hudson is, who the fuck is that guy? So, yeah. Terrible. Clutching straws now when you go, well, let's just steal what we did. I don't know whether you got this. I'm getting proper... Like, let's turn Cameron Grimes into Daniel Bryan. Like vibes. Like he's got the same ring gear. They've had him cut his fucking hair the same, do his beard the same. He's got literally.
I reckon that's what Vince has come along and done. He's gone. We have a scruffy guy. Let's make him.
100%. That is what they've done. I swear down.
He kind of looks the same. Let's do it. Except
ridiculous.
He's got a fifth of the talent.
Well, yeah.
That's right. Come at me, Grimes fans.
I've
seen him do is fucking run through the most notable thing, the main thing I can remember of his career is running through that haunted house trying to avoid Dexter Lumis, which was just fucking awful.
Terrible. Anyway, on to the next one, Anthony. Speaking of terrible.
Yeah, okay. So my next one, Carl, is Corbin, and I still hate this nickname, Madcap Moss. They're just awful. Mm-hmm. Everything about it's just awful. And do you know what, right? I've recently been watching clips from the Corbin interview with Ryan. Is it Statin? Mm-hmm. No, it's got to be Statin. And Corbin is such an awesome guy. Like, I got such an insight into him as a person, and like just how he approaches because he was saying about. Sorry, I don't mean to digress, but he was saying about basically there's wrestlers there who they want to be the bad guy, but they don't want to be disliked on social media, so they kind of want to be the cool bad guy and stuff like that. And just how he basically understands that he's not liked. Like he's had basically he's had a lot of shit on social media because he's playing the bad guy that you don't like, and he understands that. And you know what, his whole approach to the business, I absolutely admire. And it's anyone who hasn't seen it, or like I haven't even seen it all, just seen clips, but I think it gives you a good insight into Corbin the person. That being said, I had high hopes for Corbin, with his whole sort of, well, not the sad Corbin stuff, but the happy Corbin stuff, you know, and they fucking ruined that. This is awful. And now they're dragging your favourite into it, Carl, which I'm sure must really infuriate you.
It really
Sorry,
does.
Carl's favourite, Drew McIntyre.
It really, really fucking does. Like, and I get a lot of people were going, okay, you know, maybe we need to move Drew down the card for a little bit because, you know, fans are starting to boo him now. Maybe he's being booked too strong and people are starting to turn on him. I get that. Makes sense, you know, considering he carried the fucking...
to notice that. They spent about 10 years people doing
well,
that and they never fucking noticed.
Yeah, I mean, he carried the fucking company on his back during, like, the hardest time ever. But, you know, let's put that aside. You push him down the card to be feuding with fucking Madcap Moss and fucking Baron Corbin. I have nothing but just, you know, the saddest of thoughts for Drew McIntyre. Like, unbelievable. Gutted for him, to be fair, that he's even involved in this shit. It's terrible. It's awful.
Totally agree.
So the last...
I'm agreeing with you, like you brought this one. I brought this one in. Yeah, you should agree, Carl.
Yeah, I do agree. And the last Oh Shites for this week for WWE. So Naomi Sonia. It's probably not, you know, any surprise. I'm just super bored of this now. They had a really good segment the other week where Sonia looked like a badass and was like, you know, I'm when I'm wearing this suit, you don't say shit to me, and slapped her and she couldn't do nothing about it. Love that. But this is just more of the same shit now, and I'm really getting bored of it. It's like, okay, well, yeah, you know, when I've got this suit on, you can't hit me. Yeah, you've said that about 4 or 5 weeks now. And she's like, well, just fight me then. It's like, no, you're going to fight Shayna Baszler again. It's like, okay, we've seen that a million times. And then Shayna Baszler gets fucking beat super quickly. And it's just like, poor Shayna. Like, she could be a top tier heel in the women's division, which is what they sorely need. And no, this is what they're doing. So
I'll say it as I've said it before. When she came onto the main roster, they booked her like an absolute monster.
Yeah, like
now
literally
made it ridiculous.
Vampire bit Becky's neck and everything.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what it is.
Maybe
she's trying to survive without sucking people's blood, and she's weaker because of it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she is a vampire.
Oh shit! That's it. Fan theories.
We get Gangrel coming back soon.
So that was WWE this week, Anthony. My rating, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5. Another poor week from WWE. I'm just really uninterested in a lot of what they're doing at the minute. I think, you know, Raw on the whole is pretty damn awful. And the only interesting thing that they've got on SmackDown at the minute is the Roman and Brock and Heyman stuff. So it's just really not good. And for someone who's been watching, you know, wrestling since 1992, specifically WWE, it feels like a real low point. For them
I agree. I do agree with that. I would probably go 1.5 personally, and I'll explain that one to you in a little bit. I'm going to give it a 1 because of the Roman stuff, right? Because that is still the most interesting stuff. I'm going to give it a half just to give credit to what they've done with the women's tag stuff. No, the women's tag stuff. Is that right? Yes. And I just want to be sort of like given a slight bit of credit to like the fact that, like, as we mentioned earlier in the highlights, the fact that we've got to see a bit more prominence from Toni Storm and Shotzi, and hopefully if we keep pushing forward with maybe, you know, including a few more women's talents than just the 4 horsewomen, and, you know, maybe booking some other people strong instead of maybe, you know, letting people get beat in 23 seconds by Becky Lynch. Not moaning, but you know, there's a little bit of promise there, so I'm going to give it half a point for the promise of what they're doing with hopefully the women's division going forward. Okay.
Dead promises, but promises they are. Give you that.
That's typical WWE. You promised you wouldn't hurt me anymore.
Let's move on to AEW, and let's talk about what a fucking match this was. Goddamn, 60 minutes of awesomeness. Dynamite kicked off the show this week with Hangman versus Danielson, and what a match, man. You know, It's a shame in a way that the A2theK was last week, because this may have been the best match of the year.
Wow.
It was built it was built so fucking well. It started off just kind of feeling each other out, trying to, slowly build up into it. And by the end, it was just fucking near falls, left, right, and center. Keeping me guessing, keeping me on my toes. Who's going to win this? Then obviously when you start hearing the so many minutes left and stuff like that, you start to think, oh, okay, shit. And of course they finished it with a time limit draw. Now, I don't mind this, right? Genuinely, I think it's a super effective way of being indecisive with who wins without going to, let's just have every match end in a DQ, right?
Yeah.
Some people think it's quite a cop-out for the simple fact that, Danielson and Omega ended in a time limit draw as well. But I don't believe that. I genuinely think that, I was thoroughly entertained throughout the whole thing. It was a hell of a match. And if you would have had Danielson win, then it's like, I can't believe you screwed over Hangman so quick. If you would have had Hangman win, it's like, well, okay, well, where'd you go next with Danielson? He's lost a match clean to Hangman. So this now was a fantastic match that, the fans booed when it ended. I don't think that was because of the outcome necessarily. I think it's because they wanted to see more. They weren't ready for the match to end. And I think that's the balance. Agree with you.
I think because it does get a bit of heat. And don't be wrong, if AEW were constantly throwing out these time limit matches and they both run into the time limit, it might become as bad as like the DQ finish and being overused like WWE. But the thing is, the good thing about these sort of things is you can't overuse it.
No.
Like, why would you be willing to spend 60 minutes of your TV time for something that you use way too much? Like the DQ finish is used in WWE and used a lot because you can have a match that's like 2 minutes and it end up in a DQ and you've dealt with it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can't put too many of these on.
No.
So it's in its nature it stops it from being overused. I don't mind. We've had one before, and like you say, it's as effective as a DQ finish in the sense of like no one comes out looking bad for it. But on top of that, we get some fantastic wrestling before that as well. Most of the DQ shite we get is like somebody making a really stupid decision and you just can't fathom why.
Yeah. No, I think
why did you decide to do that? Do you know what I mean?
It adds to that real sport feel that we've been talking about. Mixed martial arts, UFC, you have rounds and the ending decision a lot of the time. Like, it makes sense that a match is booked for a set amount of time, and if they're still fighting by that time finishes, it's a draw. That makes sense, because otherwise it's very obvious that it's a fucking it's a fix, because you're looking at it and going, oh, what? So every single match is booked, and the show just happens to fit together every week perfectly. Run into time. What are the odds? Like, it adds to that real sport element. So I think it's great.
It gives you that belief that they actually have a match card, doesn't it?
Well, exactly. Not just like who's going to make a match, themselves this week. So yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it, and I can't believe they kicked off the show with that, and it was just like, holy shit.
Do you know what? I've been seeing them get a lot of heat for that, but it makes sense being at the beginning of the show, because the finish may have almost been more signposted.
Yeah.
In a way, if it had been at the end of the night and they've managed to give it 60 minutes worth of time at the end of the night, and you go, well, we know where this is going to go, because if it finishes early, what else have we got?
Exactly.
So it just made sense being at the beginning of the night. But I've seen so many people sort of complain about that. Why have they opened with the biggest match? Why have they opened with the main event? It's like, because sometimes it's a bit different.
Because.
There's a new shirt. Just cause.
Just cause.
Right. My next highlight, Carl, is going to be Sheeta and Deeb. Mm-hmm. Honestly, these two work absolutely fantastically together. And can you really fault Deeb? Like, I honestly, I don't know how I overlooked her for so long. Like, she's absolute amazing talent, right? And genuinely probably a candidate for best female wrestler out there at the moment. She's so good. And probably doesn't get anywhere near the credit she deserves, in all fairness.
No,
I get why, because didn't she like lean on Punk's gimmick for a while of being best in the world?
Yeah, I mean,
she did a t-shirt like that at one point.
Yeah, she's got something like that going for her at the minute. She's kind of stole a bit from Dean Malenko, being like the woman of so many thousand holds, but then also like being the best out there. But I believe that she's recently just taken up a trainer role with AEW as well. So I think that's a fantastic thing, because she really is a great technician.
She was a trainer for NXT for a while.
She was, yeah. So I think obviously she's already got experience, and I think she'll lend a lot of credibility and value to the women's division. But yeah, to your point, these two chemistry-wise, I think was fantastic again.
That's
and
it. And you can't forget Sheeta. She's been absolutely fantastic. Just her whole tenure in AEW has been fantastic. It's so mad to see just like people have, and rightly so, by the way, people have complained about their women's division initially. I think we both agree it's picked up like fantastically since the original sort of issue of not having enough. But the people they've got are just fucking amazing, aren't they? Like there's so many talented women on this promotion. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it makes such a difference, the fact that they all stand out as their own unique characters. They're not just cookie cutter versions of themselves, like generic wrestler one with generic entrance one. It's like a great wrestler mode. So they're all different, and you can tell that they've all got something about them. So yeah, great pairing from these two. Great match again. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed. And then, speaking of Dynamite, the final highlight from Dynamite this week was just MJF versus Dante Martin. I think this was fantastic. Dante Martin is unreal. The stuff he can do, I talk about it every time I see him in the ring, but my word, he is phenomenal. It's not even real. It's like if Reginald was a wrestler. Because Reginald is just like a Cirque du Soleil fucking flippy monkey, right? But Dante Martin is able to do all the shit Reginald does 10 times better, and actually is a wrestler. So it's amazing. But no, that was fantastic. But just MJF, man, he's just on a whole different level. Comes out, his pre-match promo was fucking brutal. Comes out there saying that, as in Texas, saying all their daughters swallow, saying they all fucking love incest and all this kind of. He was just an absolute nightmare, as MJF tends to be. But obviously he got the win here, 3-time Dynamite Diamond Ring holder now, and obviously this sets up a 6-man tag now with FTR against Sting, Darby, and CM Punk, which is a match I think we all want to see as well. So it's great that shut up you. It's great that we continue to further the story with every time we see him in the ring as well. It's not just like here's a match and that's it, he's done. Every time he's in there, it's meaningful. Something else happens, and his story arc I think is fantastic. So yeah, 3-time Diamond Ring winner. So yeah, loved it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So my last one, I think the last one of our highlights, to be fair, Carl, is Tay Conti and Penelope Ford.
Oh yeah.
So let's start with the fact that it's absolutely great to see the women's division getting these sort of different type of matches. I think it's good shaking things up a little bit with the whole submission thing, and honestly, just a fantastic match from both of them. And I think in the case of these two, I think we can both agree that they were very talented. I think we've both said about Penelope Ford from the off that why isn't she in more matches? She's great, but for me, you can't see how much they've both improved since like they first came into AEW. They're absolutely killed at the moment.
1,000,000%. I think Tay Conti as well. Obviously, she's Brazilian. I think the language barrier has always been a little bit of a problem, but she's come over to AEW. She's cutting really good promos, hyping things up. Penelope Ford's just got the it factor. I don't know what it is, but she's just got it.
I mean, looking at our TikTok, a lot of people agree with that comment.
Yeah, I think she's performing really well in terms of people actually watching and commenting on her stuff. But I think, I legit don't know what it is. She's fantastic in the ring, but she just has these like mannerisms and stuff that just scream out like she's going to be a star. So
it's funny, isn't it? Because it's almost like not probably quite as drastic, but she sort of embodies her character in the same way that MJF does. Yeah, like it seems like she's going all in with the character she's being. You know what I mean? I'm not liking that in terms of being the same character as him, but in terms of how much they put into it, in terms of like the mannerisms and body language and stuff. Like, I would agree with that. She seems to be putting
and hopefully
who she is as a character.
Hopefully, she doesn't get saddled with this like brass knuck gimmick thing that she's like slowly doing at the minute as well. Because I think her character and her mannerisms, her actions, and her capability in the ring is enough to stand out there as well. But I agree. I think this was a fantastic match and highlighted and showcased the future of the AEW women's division. I can see either of these two going on to be champion in the future. So massive improvements from the pair of them, I would say.
Agreed.
And Anthony, we've got an Oh Shites this week for AEW. Keen to get your thoughts. Cody Rhodes and Dan Lambert segment, right? Dan Lambert, great promo. I'm not going to say anything bad about him for that. He came out there, he was chatting about, how AEW is just like a late 90s WCW, absolutely fine, getting all the heat he needs. And then Cody comes out, and even against Dan Lambert, who's an absolute prick that everyone hates, he still can't get cheered. So he's still not getting that face pop that he needs. And then they literally, I shit you not, just go back and forth, stealing the microphone from each other for a solid 5 minutes. And it's like, okay. And so that happens. And then literally, Cody finally ends up with it after about 5 or 6 steals between them. And he doesn't say anything. He drops it and they go and fight. And it's like, are you fucking shitting me? How can Cody Rhodes overproduce a fucking promo this bad? I don't understand.
If anyone could. I
don't understand it. We know his matches are overproduced and they're a bit too much, but when he starts doing it at a promo level, you can't comprehend what he's doing. Terrible moment. And it was all, for what? Like, Sammy comes out, makes a save. I mean, Dustin came out first, but he just didn't do nothing. Sammy comes out, makes a save, and it's like, all right, I get you're having Cody versus Sammy. Like, is this the only way to... The story writes itself. You were the first fucking match on Dynamite ever. That's the story.
Yeah.
Don't get it. But okay.
It's Cody, man. It's Cody.
Yeah.
That's what worries me about this whole Christmas Day fucking match, to be honest with you.
Cody's winning, man. I'll tell you now. He's definitely winning.
If he doesn't go full heel with it, though, I'm going to be so pissed off.
No, he'll win it and be like, I won it for you guys. And then we're like, boo.
My life's awesome. Love me.
So that was AEW. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I think Rampage really wasn't that good this week, which is probably the first time ever. I think Rampage, I've gone on record as saying it's probably the finest hour of television, pretty much week in, week out. But this week, I don't know, it felt really bland. It just didn't hit. But yeah, I just think, all in all, 3 out of 5. I think Dynamite was okay. Was definitely the match that kicked off the show, and especially the MJF Martin match as well. It was all really, really good. But yeah, Rampage was just kind of let it down this week. So 3 out of 5 from me.
Yeah, it's unusual that you say that. Rampage has been killing it, but I do agree. I'd probably have to land at a 3 as well, to be honest. I think that's a very fair grading.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was This Week in Wrestling. Another fun-filled week happening across WWE and AEW. No major highlights to call out across the other promotions this week. But yeah, let us know how you feel about what we said in all the comments. We'll be back talking about all the latest news and rumours. And then we've got a quiz coming out, A versus K this week. And we're also going to be having Seasons Beatings, our end of the year recap show coming up for you soon as well. So until then, we will see you next time. And here is the one and only Thunder Rosa to sing us out this week.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A to the K. A to the K.
A to the K.